everyone, today I want to show you how to format cells in Excel. So here we have a table that shows the sports played by boys and girls in the class of 100 students. A sum formula has also been included to show the total number of students that play each sport and the total number of boys and girls in the class. So all our information is here, but because the table is poorly formatted, it's a little bit difficult to read. So we're going to format the table to make it easier to see the information and understand it at a glance. The key to good formatting is consistency. As long as you use consistent formatting throughout your document or throughout your table, everything is going to look neat and tidy and easy to understand. Another good thing to remember about formatting is if you use too much, the document might get a little bit noisy. It's very easy to get carried away with fonts and colors and formats in Excel, and you tend to lose the information you're trying to present in all the noise. So it's always good to be consistent and keep it simple. So the first thing we want to look at is alignment. And what alignment means is within a cell where your data falls. So if your data falls to the left, to the right, to the top, or to the bottom. To illustrate this, I'll just jump across to the next tab and show you how the different types of alignment work. So I've created a really big cell here so you can clearly see how the different types of alignment impact where your data falls in your cell. If you go to your Home tab and you go to your alignment tools, you'll notice 6 sets of tools here to determine your alignment. The first 3 determine the position of the text in your cell from top to bottom, and then the bottom 3 determines the positioning of the text in your cell from left to right. So here I have a cell and it's formatted left and bottom. Now if I change this to left and center, it's going to move the text up but still align it to the left. Similarly, left and top is going to leave the text to the left but align it to the top. And if I move it across to center and top, it's going to move the text to the center of the cell but still have it at the top of the cell. And if I change it, you'll get an idea of how each of these types of alignments work. Let's go back to our table. You'll notice that the numbers are aligned in different parts of the cell. So the best place to align your numbers is to align it to the right, mainly because you have your units, your tens, your hundreds, and so on that will align up traditionally from your right to left. So let's do that now. So we're going to highlight all our numbers and we're going to align it to the bottom, all of them, and then we're going to align all of them to the right. If our data presented is aligned to the bottom right, then our headers ideally should also be aligned to the bottom right. Remember consistency. So we highlight our headers, bottom and right. So the last thing we want to do is align our description. Generally, I like to keep text left to right. So I'll just do that now. Align it to the bottom and align it to the left. Now let's put some borders to maybe help us see where the totals are and where the headers are. To add a border, you select the cell or range of cells you'd like to add a border to. You go to your Home tab and in your Font tools, you would find this drop-down menu here. When you click on it, you will see these border options that are preset for you to click on to set your border style. So because it's a total, I would either use a top-down border, a top-bottom border, or I will use a top border and a thick bottom border. And just like that, I've added a border to my total. If I want to add a border to my column header, I do the same thing. I select my range of cells, I come to the top, and I choose the border style that I want. So maybe I can do all borders. And now my header has borders as well. So now at a glance, I can tell what my headers are, what my totals are, and what the table is trying to show. Another thing I didn't show here is your font style. So similar to your alignment, it's always good to have the same font style and the same font size in a document. And that, again, consistency will contribute to the neatness of the document. But all our fonts are basically the same style and same size for this example, so we don't have to worry about that. The next thing I want to show you is how to change the font and change the font size. So if we find that this font doesn't really work for us, we can go highlight the information, go to your Home tab. In your font tools again, you'll see a drop down menu where you can select whichever font you prefer, and you can also determine the size that you want to use. So if you want to use a bigger size or a smaller size font. Try to keep your font type consistent throughout your document. Your font size may change for a table if you need the information to fit within a certain area, but if you are changing the font size for a table, I suggest that you use the same font size throughout the entire table. So you can also bold, italics, and or underline your text. So to change that formatting of the text, I just select the cell or cells I want to amend. I go to my Home tab, my font tools, and you'll see bold, italics, and underline options. So if you click bold, the text will bold. If you click bold again, it'll unselect it and the text will return to normal. So if I bold it, I can also bold and italic. I can bold, italic, and underline, or I can remove all of this and just keep the bold alone. So I've added a bold to my column headers, and maybe I want to do it to my totals as well. Another way you can format your cell is changing the fill color. So the fill color is basically the color of the entire cell. To change the fill color, you highlight the cell you want to add a fill to. So let's say I want to add a fill to my column headers. You go to your Home tab, you go to your font settings, to your font tools, and you're going to see this little bucket of paint. And if you click down, these are your options to fill in any of these colors you want to. So you can click on, let's say, this color. So you have your column headers filled. At the top of my table, I have a description of what's in the table. You'll notice that this kind of goes over the edge of the table, which is fine. But if you'd like to show it in one cell, I can show you how to do that now. So you can select the range of cells where you want this description to be in. And you go to your Home tab, your alignment tools, and we're going to merge these cells. So we're going to just click on merge, and the cells are merged. But when the cells merge, they automatically center. So all the information is still in here, but because the cell is centered, you won't be able to see the start of it and the end of it. So what you have to do is you have to wrap the text. So on top of your merge tool, you'll see an option to wrap and make your cell a little bit wider, a little bit taller. So now you can see the information in your table, and the what it shows, the description of it, is at the top. Now, while I would have shown you how to wrap text and how to merge cells, generally I don't like to merge cells, and it's because formatting a document that has merged cells in it and moving text around can be a little bit difficult, and I'll show you what I mean. If I want to move this just one block across, I'm not going to be able to do that. So instead of doing that and limiting my flexibility because I have a merged cell, I would simply create a new line. So let's undo this. And instead of merging the cell, I would just go into the cell itself, into the formula bar, go to where my description, where I want my new line to start, and I will just select the data, Control X to take it off, and Control V in my new line. So now I have the same effect, except I no longer have a merged cell and I can move it across wherever I want to. The next thing I want to show you is how to insert rows and columns. So if I wanted to add a row between the description and the column header, I just need to select a cell in the row below the row I want to add. So for example, if I want to add a row between row 3 and row 4, I need to put my cell in row 4, because when I add a row, it will add to the top of where my cell is. So I put my cell in row 4, I go to my home tab, I go to cell tools, and you'll see an option to insert. So because I want to add a whole row, I can select a full row and just click on insert, and my row will come up. Another option you have is to just select one cell, go to your drop down menu and click on insert row, and your whole row will be inserted. If you don't click on the drop down menu to select insert row and you click insert, only one cell will be inserted and it will push the data down. So if you want to insert a row, you either select the entire row and click insert and it will insert a full row, or you select one cell in the row and you have to go to the drop down menu to click on insert row. Similarly for columns, if you would like to insert a column, so let's say I wanted to add a sport, I can select my entire column and click on insert, and the entire column will come up. Or I can simply click on the cell to the right of where I want my column to go. I go to my drop down menu and I click insert sheet column, and a full column will come up. So that's how you insert a full row or a full column into a spreadsheet. If I want to remove just a couple of cells instead of the entire row or the entire column, if I want to insert just a few cells, I'll show you how to do that now. So what I've done here is I've added, just for illustrative purposes, a grid with some numbers and some shading so you can see how the next tool I'm going to show you works. So if I want to add some cells to the top of these 3 rows, I go to my home tab, go to my insert options under my cell tools, I click the drop down and I click on insert cells. So I have the option when I'm inserting cells to shift my data right, and all my data is going to go across to the right and make room for these 3 cells, or shift my data down. If I shift cells down, that happens, right? If I shift cells to the right, that's what happens. So I move across my entire data to the right. So if I want to insert 3 cells, Excel can determine where I want my existing cells to go. Do I want my existing cells to go to the right, or do I want my existing cells to go down? Similarly, if I'm deleting cells, go to my delete options and click on my drop down menu. If I click on delete cells, I have the option to shift all my cells up. Let's do that first. And the cells are highlighted, have been deleted, and all my data has moved up. Similarly, if I click delete cells and I go shift cells left, that's going to happen. So all my data has been deleted and the information in the cell has moved to the left to replace where the old data was. So that's how you use your tools to insert or delete specific batches of cells. So now we're just going to go back to our table. So in this video, I would have shown you quite a couple of things. I would have shown you how to use your font tools, your alignment tools, and your cell tools to be able to edit a table or a spreadsheet. So while this video introduces the basics, within the tools I showed you in the drop down menus, for example, there are several other options that we didn't touch on in this video. Also, at the bottom of each of these boxes, you'll notice these little arrows. When you click on them, it expands into a window that gives you options to further format your data. So when you have some time, you can sit down with some test data and mess around and see what these different things can do. In my next video, I would introduce you to number formatting and date formatting. Thank you for joining me in this part 5 of our journey through basic Excel. I hope to see you again next week. Thanks. Bye.